everyone! Wow, I have not made a video in a while. I apologize for that. Life has been crazy. We are building a house, we are planning a wedding, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, so my apologies. Anyways, this video is going to be a instructional sort of video, I guess. I just recently had the opportunity to travel during the pandemic, which let me just say, do not suggest. I recommend that you stay home and you stay safe unless you absolutely have to. The reason I was traveling was for health purposes, so I kind of had no choice. I wasn't going to be able to drive 18 hours and I kind of needed to fly. But if you are able to, please stay home. Please don't be traveling or going on vacation until we have the pandemic under control. It's just not safe and it's not worth it. So please be safe. But anyways, I'm going to explain today how it was traveling for the first time in my wheelchair. So the last time I traveled was in 2019, and that's obviously been 2 years now. A year and a half? I don't know. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've traveled, and back then, my disability was not as severe, and so I was still able to walk through the airport. This time, I was traveling by myself, and I was in my wheelchair, so it was very interesting. So I kind of wanted to just do a video for anybody who's going to be traveling alone or with people who are disabled, and this is your first time traveling in a wheelchair. I just want to share my experience and let you know how it went and maybe give some tips and tricks for traveling as a disabled person. So first things first, I parked at the airport. I wasn't dropped off. I was only going to be gone, literally flew out on Monday and was going to fly back on Tuesday. I just had a quick appointment or interview thing on Tuesday morning and then was going to fly back. So I was like, well, I'll just park and whatever. So I parked at the airport. I went through, and once I got into the main area of the airport from the parking ramp, I was immediately approached by airport people, and they saw me in my wheelchair and they asked, can we help you? Can we help you get to your gate? Do you need anything? So that was super nice and accommodating. I was like, yes, please. I would love help because I have a manual wheelchair and I have a lot of weakness because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And so I would not have been able to push myself the entire way through an airport. I literally got blisters on my thumbs from using my wheelchair so much. So, and I didn't even push myself. I got to security. I only had a backpack, so I can't give any tips and tricks on traveling with luggage. You just have to call the airport and have somebody come help you with your luggage if you're in a wheelchair, and then they can bring it to have it be checked for you. One tip is it's always easier to let the airport know ahead of time that you're going to need accommodations, so they're expecting you. So if you know you're going to be flying with a wheelchair, you should always let the airport know that ahead of time, just so it's easier for everybody and they don't get any surprises. So once we got through security, I had to get out of my wheelchair, which I'm sure if you're wheelchair bound and you can't get out of your wheelchair, obviously you don't have to. But I got out of my wheelchair because I am ambulatory. I'm able to walk. And so I had a knee brace on and I took everything else off and got everything through airport security like you would normally do. They did have to take my wheelchair apart a little bit. So sorry, I'm like looking at my wheelchair. They basically took off the side parts of my wheelchair. So I have a little pocket thing that I latch on to my wheelchair. So they took that off and they took my wheelchair cushions off. And then they put that through security. They had to kind of like wipe it down and test everything. I went through the security part where you like stand and have them scan you. And then I went through and they asked if my knee was tender, if they could wipe it. And I was like, that's fine. So they had to test my knee brace. And then once we got through, I started putting my stuff back on and they went and tested my wheelchair and then got it back for me. And we put it all back together, which honestly was kind of a pain in the butt. It's really exhausting to have to get out of your chair and take things apart and go through security. So that was really, really tiring for me. I did have a hard time with that. So just so you know, if you are ambulatory, they will take your wheelchair apart and they'll test things and you are going to have to stand for a little bit. So keep that in mind. Or at least at the airports that I went through, that's what happened. So after that, I had the person take me to my gate, and then I got basically parked at the gate. They always like do your locks on your wheelchair for you, which really bothered me. I was like, I don't want this locked. I don't normally lock my wheelchair. I think that's just protocol for safety purposes, but I really didn't like that. And one thing I noticed at the gate, so they always have charging ports typically by the seats. So if you sit at like those specific spots, you can charge your phone or your laptop. But those aren't very wheelchair accessible because they're usually in the middle of a bunch of seats. So I felt really bad because like I took up like 4 seats because I was parked in the middle of it. Because I needed to charge my phone before. And I was like, I'm not going to not charge my phone just because I'm disabled. So that was kind of annoying, but I'm sure I probably could have, wheeled away and found an outlet by the wall or something. But I was like, whatever, I'm waiting for my plane. So also, the woman who was pushing me was super sweet and she was very gentle with my wheelchair. I did notice that through security they were a little bit rougher, but the woman pushing me was super sweet. She did accidentally run me into something, which was kind of funny, but they try to be careful, obviously, but it's kind of hard with depth perception pushing somebody in a wheelchair, but just be careful because I did get run into something. So, and then once my plane arrived, I got pushed down what is that thing called? The runway? I don't know. I don't remember. The tunnel thing? I don't know. I got pushed down that thing. And then once you get to the end, so I have a manual wheelchair. Obviously, I can only speak for manual wheelchairs. I'm not sure how battery operated ones work, but mine, we basically just folded up at the end and then they put a little tag on to say like, don't check this, because they need to bring it back obviously when I get off the plane. And so we set up my wheelchair. I took the cushions with to sit with on the airplane. And then they folded it up for me. And beforehand, too, if you need help getting to your seat, they can also accommodate you with that and get you an aisle wheelchair and then help you into your seat. I personally didn't need that. I can walk long enough to get to my seat, so I was fine with that. But if you do need those accommodations, just let them know ahead of time and they can accommodate you with that. I flew with Delta and I had a really wonderful experience. They actually upgraded my seats on both flights to get me into the Comfort Plus so that I had more leg room, which was really, really nice. And I'm sure that's not always available, but I was flying during COVID, so they obviously could move some people around and had extra seats. And so that was really sweet of them. They didn't have to do that, and that was really nice. So thank you, Delta. I was flying from Minneapolis to Ohio, so my flight was a little less than 2 hours. It wasn't terrible, but typically I have a really hard time sitting still for long periods of time because my joints will lock up. So that was really nice to have the extra room, and I didn't have anybody sitting next to me, so I could kind of sprawl out. So that was good. And then once I got off the flight, I basically just waited till everybody else got off so that would give them enough time to get my wheelchair set up. And then I walked off the plane and got back in my wheelchair. And then they had someone there to push me all the way to the rental car facility so I could grab my rental car. So I basically was pushed through the entire airport. I didn't have to do a single thing. I don't know. I mean, I wish I could speak on this. I'm not sure how it works. If I were to have luggage, they would push me to the baggage claim, but I truly don't know what I would do if I was traveling by myself and I had baggage because I can't push it in my wheelchair. So I'm not sure how that works. I wish I could give more information on that, but next time I travel, hopefully it won't be by myself. So if I do have luggage, hopefully I will have my fiance with me to help with that. Yeah, and then got to my rental car. They were really accommodating. The rental car company actually pulled up my rental car for me, so I didn't have to go out into the lot to find it, which was also very, very nice. Also, on my first flight, when I got upgraded to business comfort or comfort plus or whatever, apparently you get free alcohol on the flight. And so I was like, well, I'll have a white wine, whatever. And they brought me this white wine, and it was like a bottle like this big. Like, it wasn't one of those, like, tiny sample wine shooters. It was, like, 2 glasses worth of wine, right? And I'm like, okay, this flight is, like, an hour and a half. So I poured it, and it was really strong, and I had not had a lot of food. So I was like, I have to finish this wine. And I was watching a movie, so I kind of, like, chugged it, and I realized at the end, at the end of the flight, I was like, okay, I need to finish this. So I chugged it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm, like, kind of a little bit tipsy. And so when I got off the plane, the guy who was there to push me, I don't know why he did this. I think this is so funny. But I was sitting there and he literally was running up the ramps. Like anytime there was an incline, he would literally run. And so I'm like tipsy and this guy is like literally launching me in my wheelchair and I'm like trying super hard not to laugh because I'm like giggly and like drunk kind of. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, why is my life like this? And I have the world's worst wheelchair. Like, I don't know if you can see. Can you even see it? I don't even know. I have the world's worst wheelchair. It's a total piece of garbage. I mean, oh God, sorry, my camera. It's a piece of garbage. If you go more than like 5 miles per hour, it shakes like a grocery cart. And so this guy's literally running and I'm like, you know, and I'm like trying so hard not to laugh because it was so funny. But anyways, he was really nice. I think he just like, maybe was in a hurry. I don't know, but he was pushing me so fast. And so my wheelchair was shaking the entire time. And I was just like, what is happening? The only thing, which maybe I just didn't let the airport know ahead of time, but when I got back to Minneapolis, when I was done and I didn't need to be taken to, you know, I just needed to get back to my car, there wasn't anybody there available to push me, and I actually got lost in the airport. And that's when I got the blisters on my thumbs because I was pushing myself a lot and I was just exhausted. I mean, I had just had 2 days of travel. I was really busy while I was in Ohio, and so I was so tired and I got lost and I just wanted to go home. Eventually, someone at the airport just like saw me and it was like, can I help you? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm lost. Like, can you push me? So that was really nice. And then finally I got to my car. But that was one thing that I think I just didn't let the airport know I needed someone after the last flight. And so basically just reiterating the point, you know, if you're going to be traveling in a wheelchair, just let your airport know ahead of time. Actually, and the reason I was in Ohio is for some very exciting medical news that I have for you guys. I'm not going to tell you in this video because I want it to be a separate video, but I will come out with that very soon. I won't make you wait there long, but it's really, really, really exciting news in terms of my health and mobility devices and medical equipment. So I'm super excited to let you guys know, and that will be in another video. So stay tuned. With that, please like and subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button so you are notified when I have new videos come up, and I will have that new video soon, I promise, and it's super exciting, so you guys will want to hear. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!